Welcome to Business of Marriage to Death Do Us Part. I'm Serena Goodman, and this is my featured guest co-host today. This is, everybody know, DJ Burnin' Ernie, aka Ernest Davison.
Something like that.
Something like that. I think in the reverse. But in any way, welcome to today's podcast.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
I am so happy to be on this platform with you because you've got, 30 years in on marriage?
It'll be 30 years in September.
All right, so we're going to rock and roll because today...
September 21st to be exact.
Right,
I got to know the date. I got to know the date.
You better get that right. So, listen, what we're going to talk about today is secrets.
Ooh.
And that's a lot to unpack because secrets can break and destroy a relationship quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Absolutely.
So we're going to talk about, let's start unpacking that. Let's talk about the impacts of secrets in a relationship. Let's take it to the beginning. So let's talk about in the dating phase, right? So what does that look like? What do you think? From a man's perspective.
From my perspective, I think when you're getting to know someone, you're going to learn the things about them in increments based on how comfortable they become with the person. Right. And so from a man perspective, I'm not going to just divulge everything to the young lady that I'm trying to date. Now, of course, as I get more comfortable and I feel that this person might be, we might be able to take it further and it's not just a casual relationship, then I might share more. Now, sharing is, of course, it depends on being asked certain things as well, because you don't just put out your book. You kind of wait for questions to be asked.
Don't ask,
don't ask, don't tell, basically. At the beginning,
okay,
but there's I look at conversations, and that I look at it like a ladder.
All right.
We gonna take the first step, then you ask a question, I take the next step, I ask a question, we go to the next step, and then before you know it, we're up to a 10-story building.
Okay, I get that. Because I do agree with part of that in that whole dating phase, because I'm always telling everybody that's when you gather data.
Right.
Take your time with that. You don't have to come bursting out with all your secrets like you just met this person. Because in order to tell your secrets, right, there's a certain amount of vulnerability that comes along with that, yourself. Right? Because now you're exposing yourself depending on what that secret is.
Right.
So to just meet someone and start telling a whole bunch of stuff,
you're going to scare somebody away.
Absolutely.
With some things that
or
we
it's
share.
going to get posted on Facebook, some stuff that
these days.
Exactly.
Facebook wasn't around 30 years ago for me, so I had that problem.
But they did, you know what they did have back then? They had a site where there was a bad boyfriend site. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Where women would go on there and tell all these different things about men so that other women could be made aware of it. Wow. In case, like a warning, a flash, red. Yeah. And I do know a guy who ended up on that site, and he has not been able to take that information out. It lives in that world.
See, but that takes us to your question, because then now, if she posted something negative about him, when he meets the next person, he should be able to talk about that and put it on the table.
Yeah.
And then move on from there.
Yeah.
But now if he's running and hiding from it, then that's going to follow him.
You know what that did to him? It made him not want to tell anything. You see? So now he goes into a relationship with the next woman, always trying to hold back and hoping she never finds that online, and then holding back some things that he probably should tell.
Put it out? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe in extortion.
Okay.
To a certain extent, unless they're holding my family hostage. But otherwise, I'm going to go tell it first before you can even get it out there. Somebody say, I'm going to go to the media and tell that you was doing something. You know what? I'm going to beat you to the punch.
And tell it yourself.
I'm going to tell it myself.
So that's a secret. You reveal it yourself.
But it's not a secret anymore, because I put it out there before someone held it against me, held it over my head as leverage to keep something from me or to take something from me.
Yeah. So maybe that's a theory that we should use inside relationships, right? To tell it yourself.
Well,
see, but then it depends on what you're telling it and why you're telling it. Because you're saying extortion, right? Because somebody else said, I'm going to tell, right? So you said, I'm going to tell it first. But if there was nobody to say, I'm going to tell, should you tell it at all?
Well, I'm talking about if they said, I'm going to say, for instance, in my situation, hypothetically, I am married. So someone came to me and says, yeah, I found out you was cheating. You was dealing with somebody else on the side. And
Well, What would you do?
Well, first of all, they have to prove it. Because if I know I wasn't, then I was like, whatever.
Right, okay.
But if I did,
okay,
and somebody did find out, and they said, you know what? If you don't give me $1,000,
I'm gonna tell them.
You know, I'm gonna tell your wife. Or I'm gonna send. I got these pictures.
Dang.
Okay, I got this video. Because there are some people stupid enough to allow pictures and videos when they go out there and be indiscriminate.
Yeah.
So any case though, if a person told me that and I was in that situation, I'll find a way to go to my wife and say, listen, I have something to talk to you about. I had a situation and someone found out about it and they want to hold it over my head, and I just want to come to you first and let you know before you hear anything in the streets.
Wow. That's the question, is how you do that. Because, I mean, listen.
Delicately.
That's very delicately, but there's some steps to that process. We'll talk about it, but there's some steps to that process, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who got some secrets. They're afraid of somebody else revealing it to whoever that they really care about. Mm-hmm. And so there's some ways to do it. I've done some research.
Yeah, of course, I'm oversimplifying it because there could be more factors involved, obviously.
Yeah.
But I look at all relationships as having their own intertwinings, because there's no perfect time, there's no perfect example of when to reveal things. It depends on the person, their personalities, the questions that are asked,
right,
the things that are discussed.
The questions, because when you say the questions that are asked, the reason they keep getting to me is because if the person doesn't ask you the question, and so therefore you never address it, is that deception?
No.
Like if you should be telling something or shouldn't be doing something, but if she didn't ask you, you're not telling, is that deception?
Well, remember, questions are asked based on the subject at hand. So if that subject doesn't come up, then out of sight, out of mind. It has to be a discussion about a particular subject for me to reveal information on that subject. If that subject never came up in our discussion, in our conversations, then I'm going to just bring it out of left field and say, oh yeah, by the way, this and that. It doesn't make any sense.
Does the question have to be specific?
No, it can be general, because it has to be in that subject area.
Okay.
And if it's within that subject area, then yeah, we could talk about it.
Okay.
And I've always, I try to just, again, going back to the personal, my own personal situation. Or besides, I just want to remind you that example about going out cheating and somebody having pictures and videos.
See, I'm a widower, still mad at me, but he mad at
That was hypothetical. Now this one is real. This one is personal that I'm about to share. Okay, when my wife and I, when we first met and started dating, we established a few ground rules, and one of them was, I don't know what might bother you unless you ask me. Or I don't know what you're thinking unless you ask me, and vice versa.
Okay.
I can't read your mind. I don't want to assume, and I don't want the same from the other direction.
Okay.
So therefore, feel free to talk about it. We should not go to sleep upset about certain things and just sulking. If I ask you what's wrong and you say nothing, I'm gonna leave it.
Okay.
That's me. Women, well, I don't want to generalize, but most women, a lot of women will say nothing, but it's something.
Right.
And they ask you, and you say nothing, and they'll keep on at it. I say, you know what, I asked you one time, you say nothing, I'm going to leave it alone.
Yeah. Sometimes women will say nothing is because they try to pick their battles, right? So sometimes you're like, nothing if they feel like maybe it's not big enough to make it into a big issue.
Right.
Right. But women also work off of this gut instincts that we have, right? And so when we feel that our man is in distress, right, we're not going to let it go down like that. We're going to no, I know you, I feel you, I know something's wrong, and I can't really leave it like that. So that's the difference. Men be like, well, forget it, whatever. You good? Right. I'm good.
Now, a caveat to that, though, that I also established is that if we're going to be completely honest about, to each other, if I say nothing, but you know that there's something wrong with me, if I say nothing, you should know that it has nothing to do with you. So therefore, if I don't talk about it, then let me deal with it unless I ask for your assistance. See, women want to fix things. They're fixers.
Yeah,
They're nurturers. And so, let me help you. Tell me about it. It's my problem to deal with. Right. Unless I know it involves you, it's my problem to deal with. Sometimes just give me the space. Right. It's going to be gone in a couple hours. And so that's also part of that building the relationship. Right. So when you're sharing these things and you put out secrets, so to speak, or you put out things about you, right, they'll start to now understand when you do certain things within that relationship. Okay, this goes back to his experiences. Because I say everything that you're dealing with now is a sum of your experiences.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so
some people tend to think that in a relationship means that once you decide to be exclusive, a mutual decision to be exclusive, right? Because that's a mutual decision, and that should be a conversation. So we can talk about that. Mm-hmm. But sometimes people think that now you give up your privacy in a relationship and your thoughts. You do not have to share every single thought with your mate. I don't think you have to share every single thought. I think agree. You still have that. You should be able to maintain
but
that
nothing's off limit either, though.
No, nothing should be off limit to have a conversation right. over. Not at all. Because that's when you start to have the breakdown in communication. Absolutely. Right? I don't want to talk about this, I don't want to talk about that, I don't have nothing to do with you, don't worry about it, it's not you, it's not your business. Once right. you start doing that, everywhere you go, there's a wall. Right. See, and then you start to have the breakdown.
Well, and that's when the distrust starts building
exactly.
up, because now it's like, well, that's not what you said, and that's not how you acted the last time. So we agree on that. That's a mutual absolutely. Agreement.
Exactly. But see how your conversation started with your wife on putting out those. I don't want to say
qualifications,
but those ground, like you had these mutual understandings in the beginning. It's not. It's a lot of people just don't do that. They don't have those conversations.
No, they don't.
Before you jump into marriage. Hence, that's why we got the podcast, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's a business of marriage, and it's all inclusive. It's
transactions.
Not just, exactly. It's not just one thing. It's everything.
Yeah.
Right. The finances. It's the sex. It's all the agreements. How are we going to fight? Right. What is fair fighting? What is
limits?
Who's going to hold secrets? Or where's your privacy? Can you have your own private moments? Some people don't even let you have your own private moment. Like, you can't even have a quiet time to yourself. They feel everything should be, as a couple, stuck together.
Right. So, it's interesting because when we started the conversation, you talked about, talk about secrets and so forth, and when it should be held or what should be put out there. Sometimes, again, it goes back to if it wasn't important to talk about and you didn't think it was any big deal, then you leave it alone. But that's what I made the decision for. But in her mind, when it came up months or years later, said, well, you never told me that. It's like, well, I didn't think it was a big deal. And then all of a sudden, that night in the bedroom, you got the cold shoulder. And so now you got to deal with that. And so you talked about, you asked a question about deception. Now, I don't equate deception with lying.
Oh, those are two different things?
I think it's two different things, but also, in terms of what we might call a secret.
Okay.
Because, again, a deception is if someone's on to something and you kind of tell them something to steer them in the wrong direction, or someone's hitting at something, or even ask the question directly, and you say, well, no, we didn't go that far. Or we went this way.
Is that a lie?
That falls into the category.
Okay, so we got secrets, and then we talk about lies, and you said the lies and deception are different.
Well, yeah, because we went, but I didn't go into the details. So therefore, that's deception.
That's deception.
Right.
Oh, so you could tell the truth, a partial truth. Is that a white lie?
No, I don't think it's a lie. A lie is to say, did you touch that? And the person said no.
Well,
and they
did. Types of lies.
I understand. I'm just simplifying.
Lies, and then people say,
what is a white lie, though? A lie is a lie.
Okay, so wait a minute. Now, technically, there are two definitions to lies. One's called a pro-social lie. Okay. A pro-social lie is a lie that benefits the other person, right? Like, do I look fat in this dress? And you know that will hurt their feelings, so you say, no, you look all right. Okay, that's a pro-social lie. An anti-social lie is a lie that's going to benefit you. Like, if you tell the truth right then and there, then you're going to hit it. You're going to feel the wrath. That's an antisocial lie. So there are those things that we call white lies, and then there's a other level of lies.
If you want to break it down into categories, I mean, I understand what you're saying,
Right?
but I kind of.
You all tell the little white lies,
It's
no?
black
Or you
and
just,
white.
It's just a lie is a lie is a lie.
A lie is a
There's no
lie.
degrees to it?
No. But it all depends. There could be a degree if it's a line between life and death.
Oh, that's a whole. Okay, so
If it's
what's,
life
what's
and
that?
death.
Right? Because if you want to save somebody's life, you're going to tell a lie if you have to. Is that's going to be a white lie?
Well, no. Like a lie, for instance, if you want to cover something up, say, well, you know, if you walk up those staircases, knowing that staircase could cave in at any minute, and you say, no, it's okay. You go ahead, walk up there.
That's a lie, and that's
Right.
That's a lie.
So
Okay.
something like, you know, that. So that's a life and death type of lie. But I'm talking about, again, the example I gave, where you ask somebody, did you go there? And they say
Okay.
no, knowing full well that they went there. That's a lie.
Okay.
But now you get into, you say, well, yeah, we passed by there and we you know, just kind of stepped in for a minute, knowing full well you were there for hours.
You know what lies women tell?
That's deception.
You know what women tell? I don't have a lot of girlfriends, but women tell lies to their girlfriends. Like when they get ready to go out, if the woman's wearing a dress and it don't really look good on her, and you want to make sure you look the best that night, they tell a lie. So the white lie is if the person is wearing a dress, they feel really good in it, and you know that if you tell it to them, it's gonna hurt their feelings. So you say, no, you look all right. The lie is if they look bad in a dress, you don't tell them they look bad in a dress because you want to make sure you look the best that night. That's a super lie. See, that's the difference between those two lies.
Well, I think.
Do men do that? Do men
No,
lie?
like I was about to equate it. That sounds like a woman thing because I don't look at that as all men are not worried about who looks the best.
Y'all worry about who gets numbers, no?
Well, who
gets
can
the
get
most
numbers, but it
attention?
ain't got nothing to do with how much better I look than you.
Oh,
Because
you
it's
got
all
more
about our game. It's going to be all about our game.
Mm-hmm.
Back when I was gaming.
Maybe. Full disclosure, right?
Full disclosure. But I can teach it because I have sons and I have friends
Right,
who
of
have,
course.
you
But
know,
it exists.
who are not
This is-
married,
this
and
is
it's
real
important.
Stuff. Everything
Yeah.
that we're talking about, even though we're laughing,
Yeah,
in some parts
absolutely.
of it, it's real, and it will destroy your marriage. It will destroy your opportunity to even get married. Yeah, depending on what it is.
And I'm sharing what worked for me
Right.
in my relationship because every relationship is going to be different.
Yeah.
Like I talked about, different personalities,
Right.
different stages in life, different maturity levels. And so you're going to deal with things in a different way. But it's all a give and take.
Yeah.
See, it's all about a compromise.
Yeah.
We talked about marriage being a transactional situation.
Yeah.
You know, not that you give me, then I give you type of thing.
Yeah.
But we got to give and take.
When should someone tell a secret? Like, because you know what? This
Tell
is
a
the thing
secret.
with secrets. Okay, we're gonna break it down a little bit because secrets affect a lot of people. Some people, the person that's holding the secret, right? Emotionally, this whole mental thing that's go through, the whole guilt thing that's go through it.
Guilt.
Yeah,
Eats you
that
up.
guilt
Guilt
can
eats
eat
you
you
up.
up, right? And then when the person that you're keeping that secret from, eventually it's gonna hurt them when they find out about it. Then that's that whole level of betrayal that
Right.
starts to seep in, and then
Right.
understanding that you may never get back to what you had
Right.
in the past, right? So when should a person tell a secret? When is it like when should you, or should you just never? See, that's a big part.
Again, I'm going to keep emphasizing out of sight, out of mind. If it doesn't come up in a conversation or in a subject, what's the reason for you to put it out there unless somebody brought it to your attention or asked a question, said, oh yeah, this time, you know, it's because it's hard. Like for instance, okay, you're my wife, okay? And I did something last year with my boys. We went, to the club, then we went out, okay, and did, some other wild things. And I got a little carried away, right?
Okay.
But that's between me and my boys, okay? So me and you having a conversation today, and you go, something happens to bring up that occasion.
Okay.
And you go, yeah, that night, that's that night you went out with Rick and them, right? It's like, yeah. You never told me where else y'all went, because you did say y'all went somewhere else. It's like, oh, yeah. Now, at that point, I have the option to tell you where we went.
Okay.
But if that subject never came up, why would I tell you where me and Rick and them went last year if that subject never came to light?
All right, so let's take it to let's go for the big bucks right now. Let's go for you married and you cheated.
Okay.
Okay? Hypothetically, I want your wife to know.
Hypothetically.
Okay. And you cheated.
Okay.
You're not waiting for somebody to say, hey, did you ever cheat on me? You're not waiting for that conversation. It's heavy on your heart. You're like, dang, I got a great wife. You were 20 years into the marriage. This is what happened.
Okay.
Right? No child came out of it. Because that's a whole nother conversation.
Oh,
now
yeah.
That one, you're going to tell that secret.
That's it.
Okay, because that's a whole human being.
Absolutely.
So you're going to tell that secret. If you don't tell it, she may never know.
Right.
What do?
You do nothing.
You
because again, the topic never came up. Unless you use the phrase guilt is eating at you.
Right.
Then if you feel guilt eating at you, then you say, you know what, baby? There's something I need to talk to you about. And it's been on my mind, it's been bothering me. I need to share this with you. But if that was never if that guilt doesn't get to you and it doesn't bother you, and it's not something that you feel ashamed of or feel guilty about, then why would you bring it up? You die with it. That's my opinion. You die with it.
And you would be okay with her if she cheated and she died with it.
Yes. I've always been a proponent of what I don't know won't hurt me in a relationship.
Oh. Okay.
I strongly believe that. What I don't know won't hurt me. Because at what point, because part of a relationship also includes trust.
Right.
Trust is a key element.
Right, I agree.
So if I don't trust the person, now the only time those things come up or those concerns come up is if there's questions of trust or mistrust. But if you trust that person, I don't care. Because I don't know. Right. So how could it bother me?
Yeah.
Now, God forbid if she died and one of her friends said, man, your wife was out there on you.
Yeah. It'll
hurt me. But she's gone now, so what's the difference? You understand what I mean? So she died with that, but even while she's alive, if that was the case and it didn't bother her enough to come to me and vice versa, because everything goes two ways.
Yeah.
So I think secrets have their place. Because especially if you feel, if I come out and start divulging things, now I got to consider the repercussions.
You better. Well, see, this is the thing. People, and this is one of the advice I think I want to throw out there, is that before you do something, you better consider repercussions.
Absolutely.
You understand? And that it can get out, and that there's something that can be exposed, or something that you may be forced to tell that you had no intentions of telling.
Right. But I'm talking about the repercussions of telling.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because the deed was already done. It wouldn't be a secret if you didn't do it.
Right. Yeah.
So it's after you did it. Now you got to confront your partner to now divulge this information. So you got to think about the repercussions. Am I jeopardizing losing this relationship?
Absolutely.
I love this person too much to share that.
That's on the table. What else is going to be on the table? That they don't trust you ever again. That's on the table.
That's on the table.
Right? And what?
Of course, if the breakup happens, if you have children, your relationship with your children, the family structure is now destroyed.
The in-laws, everybody can be affected by your secret. That's
absolutely
one of the biggest things that people got to.
And that's why so many people die with their secrets.
Okay, so now that you mentioned that, I'm going to tell this little story. There's a woman that I know. She was a wonderful businesswoman, sharp, always on top of her game, beautiful woman. Her husband dies. At the funeral, he had a whole nother family. You understand? He got kids that's inside the kids that she has.
And it's a true life.
This is a true story.
You see, that stuff you hear on the movies.
This is absolutely true. To me, I watched that broken woman. You understand? Like I saw her another time, and she just wasn't herself. You could see that everything had unraveled, right? Yeah. You understand? Absolutely. And the reason I'm telling that story is because sometimes the things that people do, even though you take it to your grave, she never had closure. It's not like she can get closure from him, right? So now all the pieces of the puzzle she either gets from the other woman. Her kids are hurt because they saw their father as this great, ideal father, and now you find out that he had this whole nother family, and some of the kids are the same age.
That made
you understand? Wow. So taking it to the grave still hurts someone from the grave. And that's what I want people to think about.
And while I understand that's an extreme situation, because you did put in a caveat when I was sharing the example of taking it to your grave, that if there were children involved, if it was something that was real, but if it's an indiscriminate relationship that you had and no children came out of it, and there was no harm, no foul in terms of it was a mutual exchange with you and someone else, and y'all went y'all separate way, one night stand, whatever you want to call it, then that's a secret you could take to your grave. It was one night stand.
It may not show up at the funeral.
It won't show up at the funeral.
She may show up at the funeral.
Well, she may. It's like, what?
That happens.
Well, yeah. But what they going to show up with? A baby from somebody else?
No baby.
Listen.
But they just...
Look, at the end of the day,
say a few words and she get up and talk about you.
At the end of the day, there are some men that are real slack with how they move.
They sloppy.
Real sloppy.
So if you're not sloppy, it's okay to keep your secret.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, obviously, if you're going to be out there doing things like that, you ought to take into consideration what can happen.
Yeah.
You ought to take into consideration what's happening. And there's some men that don't. When you talked about a girlfriend, or women talk about going out and she looked nice and so forth, I think about how women cover for each other.
Yeah, men cover each other.
Men don't know how to cover for each other, because I'll tell you that, I was out with Rick and them last night, and you talking to Rick's girlfriend, and he told me he was out with Rick and them last night. No, Rick was here last night. Because you didn't even think to tell Rick, if somebody asks, tell them we was together. That's that's what I mean by sloppy. But women, they got their girlfriends in on it. They parents know. Things. Everybody know. Oh yeah, Serena was with us.
I'm on when to co-sign that nonsense. I don't know who co-sign that nonsense.
There's a lot of your sister, your friends, whatever, whoever you know that your man or your husband might have contact with, you make sure to cover all those angles. Most women do that. Men, they'll make up something on the fly and never cover the angles. So that's, I guess, when you talk about secrets.
Yeah.
I think men have will probably have the most problem to reveal things because they haven't been forthright with how they move.
Right.
They even if it's not anything bad, because it's not always something that's bad. You could have a gambling problem.
Yeah,
you can have a drinking problem.
Yeah, those are big secrets though. Yeah. Addictions is a big secret in a marriage. Your finances, loaning money, borrowing money, problem with your job.
Using your personal the joint account.
Exactly. In Resort World, I mean, it's a whole bunch of things that could be. Secrets doesn't necessarily have to be sexual.
I have a friend who they've broken up. They got divorced because the partner was out there gambling their money, and you're getting calls from all these different people. Yeah. You're late on your payment. Yeah. And it's like, hey, where's the money?
That's a big issue.
And they gambled it away.
So that's what we want people to know, that the secrets doesn't necessarily have to be. I mean, we normally will equate it to like something like cheating in a relationship or cheating when you're exclusive, blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't necessarily have to be. It could be other devices inside that.
It could be. It is.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of other stuff. There's a whole bunch of it. Could be porn. It could be everything. There's other things that are going on. There's social media. That people are addicted to that. People, it could
download.
Go on. That's a whole nother category. And that's bisexual. How would somebody tell that secret?
That probably...
And that's a secret that needs to be told.
Again.
Because you can run across, those...
You say it needs to be told.
It needs to be told.
But told at what point or how? Do you just bring it up?
Yeah. Listen, I think today, now I don't know, like years ago, but I think today, people are pretty comfortable with their sexuality. I think they'll tell it. Like, people who are bisexual, they generally don't want it. Nobody wants to be in a closet with who they are anymore. I think they just tell it.
I don't know.
So I think they should tell it in exclusive.
I have a friend who actually found that out about, his girlfriend.
Okay.
But he had a feeling. He didn't see it. But he started to see signs.
Okay.
And he's like, he confronted her. Now again, she didn't say nothing. She didn't say anything.
Oh, did he ever ask?
Well, that's what happened. When he asked, then she told him yes.
Well, he never asked. So if
he never asked, so
he's good. So they're good then, because there should be no problem.
Well, not good.
Because according to your theory, if he didn't ask, they good money.
Right.
Also, good.
Because he got suspicious, he brought up the subject.
Okay.
But now, suppose he never got suspicious, or suppose there was never any signs.
So, according to you, she could take it to a grave.
That's right.
That's not right.
Why not?
That's not right. That's not right. If it was him and he was having sex with men, is that not something that she should know? Isn't that something that she should tell? And if she's having sex with women, along with him, he should know that. And people should. And now, I wouldn't say they would tell it in the dating phase. Like, you don't have to reveal all of that in the dating phase. But I think that once you say you want to be exclusive with someone, you have that conversation, something like that would impact everybody's lives. Yeah, you got to.
I go back to, there's two reasons why you would divulge that type, any kind of thing that you was holding in. One is if it came up in conversation. Okay? And two is if it was eating at you and that guilt was eating at you. But if you were comfortable with it and it wasn't interrupting your relationship and how y'all was moving, everything was cool within your relationship, happy, everything is in place, finances, your sexual relationship, your friendship, your dating with each other. One of the best advices I've ever gotten is on my honeymoon. And this person said, never stop dating. And so we still try to have date night, and sometimes you take a person for granted and you forget to do those things. Right. He said, never stop doing the things that you did to win this person, to court this person. All right. So you still should try to do the flowers and try to do the poetry, and you try. Sometimes you forget. Okay. No, I didn't do it. I wasn't. I sing though, and I still do. I sing I sing all the time around the house, but not directly to her, which I probably need to do more of.
Okay.
But again, if everything is okay on the home front, then again, the only two reasons that would bring those that you buried is if it came up in conversation, or if that guilt was eating at you to say, you know what, I got to reveal this to this person.
Yeah, but the thing is that you live in a lie. You live in. See, this is the other part of it.
You living with a lie because
you're living with a lie inside yourself, right? Okay, that's fine. But should you even, if you're in an exclusive relationship and you got that lie, right? So you and then even when you get married and you're gonna still date, right? So if you really like having sex with the same sex as well, so you're dating them as well. So as long as you keep it nice and clean and everybody look happy, you tell me it's good?
Well, I'm not saying to go out there and do it just because you're not going to feel guilty.
That's his flavor or her flavor. Is that if the woman is bisexual, right? Okay. If she does not reveal that going into being exclusive with someone, and then they go into a marriage and she's bisexual, that's not changing.
It could have been just an encounter.
No, I didn't say like a one-off. You tried something, experimentation. I'm not saying that. I said bisexual. I mean, I don't like to label people, especially when it comes to sexuality. But there's a whole lot of alphabets there. So I don't want to get into that. But I'm saying if she's already identified as bisexual,
okay,
right, and she doesn't tell it, exclusive with a man, doesn't tell it, going to a marriage, doesn't tell it. You're saying as long as she could keep him happy, and then she could still dibble and dab and be bisexual whenever that time allows, all is well?
Let me clarify. Okay. I'm not saying it's.
And he never asked. He didn't give any signs and he didn't ask.
So I'm not saying it's okay to do it.
Okay.
I'm just saying that if it never came up, I don't have a problem with it. Because you never knew.
Okay.
And so that's me personally. If I never knew, never had any idea or inkling, I don't have a problem with it. Mm-hmm. It's only when it's revealed. So if it was never revealed, you don't know what you don't know.
Wow. I'm not cool with that one. But okay, it worked for you.
You don't know what you don't know.
It worked for you. I mean, in my
but isn't that because I can't walk around with this question mark constantly wondering if there's something that my partner didn't share with me.
Right, no, not that. Not that. I'm just saying that, I mean, now, when that person does find out, because it's not going to come out from you, because you said you never, if the person don't ask, you're not telling, right? And so
the guilt,
right? And the guilt didn't bother you. You cool with it. So the guilt is not eating you up at night. You sleeping well. You and your teddy bear, everything's cool, right? Okay. So therefore, when that person happens to come across it or find out, or maybe walk in on it, or now, do you understand what that looks like? Like, right? That level of betrayal, that could destroy someone.
Absolutely.
This is what I'm trying to say, is that you decide to tell a secret, not to tell a secret. You got to take into account what the ramifications are. Also take into account the mental health of the person that's going to find out about it, and the level of betrayal. And understand something too, that when people tell a secret, don't think that just because you unloaded your stuff on somebody, that now you feel better and you can sleep better at night, that you didn't mess somebody else up. That's what I'm talking about. That's the part of the secrets that we really got to get people to understand.
I hear what you're
saying.
Just
tell it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but
just tell it in the beginning then.
It's no longer a secret. I don't mean to be coy about it, but a secret is a secret. Okay. And it's meant to be a secret, right? And if you tell it, then it's no longer a secret.
Yeah, but the goal here is for people not to keep secrets, not to do things that not to do things that's going to cause you to have to keep a secret. Well, people, listen to me right now, okay?
I know I got some people asking questions, but it sounds like I'm simplifying. But I really feel
if it's out, it's no secret no more.
Huh?
If it's out, then it's no secret.
It's not a secret. So a secret is a secret, right? And that's it.
Now, and it's just stay a secret.
But I mean, we can laugh about it. But in all honesty,
but you know what? Has anybody ever hurt you? Anybody ever betrayed you? Let me ask you that question.
Personally,
have you ever been betrayed to the inner core? Has anybody hurt you in a place that you didn't even know existed within your soul?
That's probably why I feel the way I do, because I've never been hurt that way.
Okay.
Because I try to pay attention in my relationships. I focus on who I'm dealing with, and if I see tendencies that doesn't match with what our relationship's what's going on in our relationship, or what you've told me, then I'm going to ask questions. And that's what I mean by asking questions if it doesn't come up. So we have to be curious within our relationship with each other to ask those things.
Yeah, open and
so if it never came up, it might not have ever occurred to me. So therefore, 30 years later, you're going to ask me, oh, you never told me that. We never talked about it. But the fact of the matter is we talked about everything. So everything is out there. So there's nothing to keep a secret. You understand what I mean?
Right.
But if it is a secret, it's a secret, goddammit. And that's what it's going to be. All right? When or
how do we think somebody... So there's no easy way to tell a secret. Something that you got to tell.
Especially something you know is going to hurt that person.
Yeah, but I'm going to say there's sometimes when not to tell a secret. Like, don't tell a secret when you're drunk. Like, don't tell a secret.
Well, see, that's the...
See, and that's the liquid courage. And sometimes people let stuff out
and that's actually when people share that stuff.
That's not when you're supposed to share it. I'm telling you that. That's number one. Don't do that. Right?
That's when that stuff come out. When they, but also that's probably what created the secret, because they were drunk and did something they wasn't supposed to do.
Probably.
Now they drunk again, and now they're reminiscing about that night. It's like, oh yeah, baby, I'm gonna tell you. You know what?
Oh Lord. The other time not a good time is at nighttime. I researched and it said don't tell it. You got a really bad secret. Don't tell it at bedtime. I was like, why? Why would you tell it at bedtime? And I'm thinking, like,
there's timing for it, I guess.
Yeah, well, there is timing.
I mean, because we have pillow talk.
Yeah, but that's not the kind of stuff you want on your pillow.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that means you can be up all night long arguing.
Well, that's true.
That's probably why they say not bedtime.
You know what? even though it's not a secret, I could share something that happened at night, and I don't have a problem sharing it, because there was a time where I contemplated seeing someone on the side.
Wow.
Right? And this was during the beeper days. I used to have a alpha beeper, so they could send messages, and that was expensive. It was like 50 cents a sentence, something like that. It was crazy, right? And I met someone, and it was casual friendship first, but then we started kind of like, it's just like, okay, but nothing happened, right? But so I got this text, a message one time I've never been one to hide my beeper or hide my wallet or anything like that, because I had nothing to hide, right? And I got probably a Sunday evening, took all the stuff out of my pocket, got ready for the evening, just relaxing, and my son was still a baby. Took him to take a bath. I left my beeper. The beeper went off. Wife brought it to me in the bathroom and said, "Oh, your beeper's going off." And so I took it from her, and she's standing right in front of me. I'm reading it, and it says, I'll be back in town Tuesday. Look forward to seeing you. XOXO. We were going to go have lunch. So I give it back to her. I knew who it was, because it doesn't identify who it was, but I knew who it was. Give it back to her. She put it back on the dresser. I finished with my son to bed and so forth.
Okay.
And when I got into the room, we having talk, and she said, "Oh yeah, we definitely need to," because now it's something that created the problem. Because I felt that I was being overcharged by the company for the messages, for messages I was getting.
Okay.
And we used to share bills. So I was complaining that they charging me too much for these messages. Okay. So she said, "You know what? We got to call this company and let them know that you're getting these messages that don't belong to you." And I came clean.
Let me brace myself for this. What did you do?
I said, "That was mine." I came clean with it.
Wow.
I said, that message was for me.
How many years were you into the marriage at that point?
Actually, it was fairly early. 5, 6 years. 5, 6 maybe, years. Give or take.
Wow.
But
what did that conversation look like?
So it didn't go anywhere when I first admitted that message was for me. Fast forward about 3-4 hours later, it's 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. See the light on, wake up, and the light on is in the bedroom, and she's sitting up. I was like, oh man, I got to deal with this.
Where were you, on the sofa? Well, we know you don't sleep on the sofa. You made that.
I don't do. We was on the bed because we didn't talk about it. I just said that message was for me and left it at that.
Oh.
At that time, so this was about maybe 9, 10 o'clock, whatever time it was.
You gangsta with it.
Because but I left it at that, and she didn't ask any more questions.
Wow.
So, but fast forward a couple of hours later, the light is still on. It's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Her light came on.
And I woke up. I said, I got to deal with this.
Oh, wow.
And we had a conversation about it. I was like, yes, I had temptations. Nothing ever happened with this person. And, and we talked about it and we talked it out. Okay. But I came forward. Because I always believed that if it comes up, I always believe in being honest in a relationship. Now, of course, we're human beings and we're going to have weaknesses and we're going to have temptations that we got to deal with. It's either you leave it alone or you are tempted by it. And if you're tempted by it, then you try to find ways, maybe it might be fun for a little while or whatever. Yeah. And, you're not thinking about the repercussions per se when you're contemplating these temptations.
That's why we're doing this podcast. Because you want people, Had she not, had the person not,
Okay,
my question is, right?
Had she never
had
saw
she
that
not seen
text,
that beeper, that text,
I probably would have saw that girl that Tuesday or whatever day it was, and might have had lunch, and who knows what would have happened after that.
Wow.
But I never called this person back. I never responded.
Did you have a conversation with the woman to tell her, like, listen, did she know you were married?
Yeah. And that's the other thing that I didn't hide that. I'm proud to wear my ring. I don't hide the fact that I'm married. So that temptation had nothing to do with my marriage. it was me personally that I had that temptation. It wasn't that I wasn't satisfied at home, and so that's what I want people to understand, that a lot of times people aren't going out to do things just because it's something wrong at home per se.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's things within yourself that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
And you have to get it out your system. Even though you made that commitment, doesn't mean that you're fortified from temptation and from having these because just like you could walk by a window at a department store and appreciate that outfit that the mannequin is wearing, and you're gonna double look at it because it's pretty.
Is that just the lust that's in men? Like, what is it? Like,
but I think no,
because
it's a human being.
You had a good wife at home. The sex wasn't bad. She did the things that you wanted her to do, right? Like
it's not just men though. Why you say it's that with men?
I'm asking. No, I mean
it's human nature because we're social by nature. So women are going to be attracted to men. Men are going to be attracted to women till the end of time. What it is control, being able to ration your desires to where you focus it on. Because I can still see a woman and appreciate how attractive she is.
Well, that's fine.
I can still have a quick thought.
That's normal.
See, it's not the thoughts that you have.
It's the actions.
It's the actions, but it's also the thoughts that you dwell on. But had you not got caught,
you would have acted. What would have stopped you?
I probably would have. I probably would have reacted. Yeah. But it's the thoughts that you dwell on too. So you can have thoughts all along. Right. But if you don't keep them in your, constantly thinking of, oh man, I want her. Oh yeah, oh man.
Well,
think
that
about
happened
her night and day.
like 5 years in, and you lasted 25 more years. So that meant that she trusted you.
Well, I had to build the trust back up.
That's my point.
I had to build the trust back up.
But
what I loved about my wife is that she knew that she never put me on a pedestal. Because she had brothers who she had to come before. Right, and so she know men can be men. Knew the deal. Men can be men.
Yeah.
And it bothered her so often when she heard about her friends putting their husbands or boyfriends on pedestals, knowing that, hey, I know this nigga out here doing stuff.
I think one of the things too, Ernest, is that we have to remember that sometimes you have to separate the man from the action, right? Because sometimes good people make some bad decisions.
We make mistakes.
Split second, bad damn decision does not make him not a good man.
Absolutely.
It just makes him a good man that made a bad decision, right?
Right. I agree with that. That's a good. I think we came to a compromise.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. So listen, we've been talking for a while. I love having you as my co-host today.
Really
we had a fabulous time. So for those of you who love watching the Business of Marriage, make sure that you hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, subscribe,
and it'll give you notifications so you know when we're going live again next Sunday at 7 p.m. And then we're going to do this other segment that we have. It's called Overtime. So y'all got to be looking for it when you say, whenever you hit
and then previous segments, they can go back and look at
go back to the old segments and like them and send your friends to like them and all that other good stuff.
Awesome. Well,
so yes, I think we helped some folks today, right?
Hopefully.
Thank you for sharing so much of yourself with us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
And we'll be back again next Sunday, 7 p.m.
Awesome.
On the Business of Marriage. Peace, y'all.